Hans had just finished his class and was about to go back to his wife, Lucy. However, he accidentally bumped into Lucy and her student, George, in an intimate moment. From their conversation, it was clear that it was Lucy who had pursued George first. This made Hans feel disgusted inside. But as a teacher, Hans didn't want this matter to escalate at school. It would affect his reputation as a teacher. So, Hans decided to wait until they got home to discuss the matter with Lucy. After leaving school, Hans brought up George with Lucy. Hans initially wanted to directly end his marriage with Lucy, a relationship that even a man like him couldn't just let go. But clearly, Lucy didn't think the same way. She firmly rejected Hans' suggestion to divorce, and she assured him that it was just a fling with George. She wouldn't let George get involved in their married life. In the future, she still wanted to spend her life with Hans. Hans thought Lucy's perspective was seriously flawed, but they had been married for 3 years, and this was Lucy's first major mistake. Lucy's family was very wealthy. She had grown up in an extravagant environment. After hearing Lucy's assurance, Hans didn't press for a divorce. He chalked it up to a mistake on Lucy's part. He thought in a few days, Lucy would forget about George. But reality quickly showed Hans that he had seriously underestimated Lucy's cruelty. Lucy personally taught George how to drive. Even when George intentionally hurt Hans, Lucy used George's unfamiliarity with driving as an excuse to defend him. To make matters worse, Lucy asked Hans, who had just come out of the hospital, to apologize to George for his wounded pride. When Hans firmly refused, Lucy threatened him with his grandmother, who was still receiving treatment, as leverage. Hans eventually gave in. One morning, Lucy made another unreasonable demand. She brought George over to their house to celebrate his birthday. Hans knew this would be another humiliation, but he still agreed. However, his condition was that Lucy sign a contract. Lucy thought it was just about transferring some of her shares. After all, Lucy had betrayed their marriage with George, so she thought this was just Hans asking for some compensation. She didn't realize it was actually a divorce agreement. When Hans saw Lucy sign it so decisively, his worries disappeared. His mind kept recalling the details of his past with Lucy. From her insistence on confessing her love to now, their marriage was falling apart. It had only taken them 3 years. Their fateful connection started with Lucy's confession. Lucy was a noble young lady. Hans had initially thought their different backgrounds made it impossible for them to be together. But Lucy stood every day with flowers under the boys' dormitory, basking in the scorching sun, even risking heat stroke without giving up. She finally moved Hans's heart. Later in their life together, Lucy always paid special attention to Hans. When Hans fell in